Hey, my inky crafty friends, it's Haley Dyer, the Inky Scrapper, coming to you live this Thursday, August 13th. I am running late tonight, but it's because I got to have dinner with my parents and my daughter, so it was worth running a little bit late to get to spend time with them and now get to spend time with you. So I'm just going to check that things are broadcasting like they should, and it looks like they are. So I thought I would share really quickly. I like to begin each Thursday with a recap of last week. And so first up, this is the card that I made on last week's live. Although actually this was the prototype, and I made a second card with the Artisan Sketch Garden DSP. This is Valley and Bloom DSP. These are both on sale right now through the end of the month while supplies last for 15% off. So it is one of the reasons I wanted to feature them now. The other card that I made actually on the live is going to a birthday girl tomorrow, so I don't have it in my hot little hands. And I don't think I showed this last week. I don't remember, honestly, so I'm going to show it again. Sorry if it's a repeat, but if this is your first time watching, then great. I was playing around with our hot foil system and figured out that you can use our regular cutting dies. And that's how I made this frame. It's a regular cutting die that I hot foiled. So they're much thinner than the hot foil dies. Here's a little Celebrate that I hot foiled and cut out from the Classic Greetings. The hot foil dies have a much thicker edge to them, but I think it's a fun way to use your products. Some people commented that that might be dangerous to our cutting dies. I don't think so. Every now and then. I wouldn't do it all the time, but anyway, that's just one of the cards that I made trying that technique. And here is a second card that I made. Again, this uses regular cutting dies. This is the oh my gosh, I've forgotten the name. Symphony of Nature, I think is what it's called. Sorry. This is the die cut that I hot foiled, and the little hashtag sort of motif that I hot foiled, and then I trimmed those and slid that paper underneath just to give it some dimension. Again, this is a really simple card, but I wanted to try it out, and I'm pleased with what happened. So those are just a few of the things that I made recently that I wanted to share. And tonight I have a really simple idea. I think it's simple, but I also think it's fun, using up scraps, because we all have scraps, and I think it's fun to figure out ways to use them. So I grabbed scraps right here, strips of the beautiful Extraordinary Life DSP. I've got several different pieces. The only thing that they need to have in common for this card is to be 4 inches wide. I also grabbed 2 4-inch strips of Pool Party cardstock that coordinates, because our two-tone cardstock is on sale, and so is this DSP. So just search the sale, because they are 15% off and they are absolutely lovely. So I have an 8.5 by 5.5 white cardstock base that I scored at 4 1/4, and I have a 4 by 5 1/4 white panel to go on the front, and that's what we're going to use to make a fun little card. This is going to use strips of paper. I don't know how many, to be honest. We're just going to build it as we go, and we're going to tear. I love our two-tone cardstock because when you tear, I like to tear towards me. When you tear toward you, you're going to reveal that white core, just like that. If you don't want the white core to show, tear away from you or tear towards you and just use the back, right? So it just depends on the look you're going for. I think this makes amazing ocean waves with the frothy white foam. I don't know that I'm going to use this piece for this card, but I wanted to show it to you. So I do want to, I don't like that edge. We're going to, actually, sorry. We're going to use the 4 1/4 panel, and I do want to have straight edges at the top and bottom. So I'm probably going to anchor this at the bottom, and I'm wondering about the honeycomb at the top. And then we're just gonna layer some strips in between. Ooh, I do like that polka dot. Well, originally I thought that was a little too much. I kind of like that now that I've got the pool party and the honeycomb. We can bring in some of the pink. The back's got a fun design. Also, let's look at the stripes. It's a nice blending of the two. I think I want the stripes though to run this way. I'll be honest, originally I didn't think I wanted to use this piece because, yeah, I do like this side better. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting these to be 4 inches wide. That's the secret to this card. You need strips of paper that are 4 inches wide. If you're doing it as a top fold card like or a side fold, sorry, card like I am. And that one's probably a little too big, but that's fine for now. I do like the back of this one, so we'll see if we want to add that. I definitely like this side up, so I'm just going to trim it to 4 inches. But I don't think that I want the honeycomb on the honeycomb, so I'll probably bring that one down here. I do like this plus pattern. So again, 4 inches. I don't know if I'll keep this one or not, but it's an option. I definitely like all of the colors in this stripe, and I do like the vertical stripe better than trying to incorporate the horizontal stripe where I may not get as much of the colors. And again, I think this one is too thick, but we can trim it down. Let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. I do think I'd like to try to incorporate this pattern. I like both sides, but especially bringing in all of the colors with this, maybe down here. I feel like I need one more piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I don't like that there's an even number. So what do we think? I think we need some more color. So maybe, I thought I had a thinner one of these. I did, I used it right there. So let me trim this one. Actually, I'm gonna cut about 1 inch of that. And then, I'm afraid that one's too skinny to tear, so I'm gonna stick with the thicker one. That's about 1 inch. Again, that part's not as important. And I think I need to separate these, the black and white, with some color. And maybe build it like this. What do y'all think? Or am I better off? Like that. Actually, I didn't think I was gonna like that, but I kind of think I do. All right. Let's go for it. Slide those over. I know that I want this to be a solid piece along the bottom. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal to adhere that. Flush left, right, bottom. And I want this one along the top. I think I'm going to go ahead and tear this piece because it is so thick and not adhere it just yet. So I'm keeping it kind of straight. I do like the back of that one, but I'll save this scrap. I don't know if I'll use it or not. This is going to be the next piece, and I'm going to, again, just tear one edge because I can layer these and have torn edges shown each time. So I would tuck that up underneath like that. Next is this big one. It's pretty thick. So I'm going to trim about 1/2 inch off just so that I can use that possibly on another project. Maybe not. Again, I am completely working with scraps from other projects. And it was fun to pick different pieces to work with. Again, I'm tearing towards me so that I can see that white edge. And again, that will tuck underneath. Let's see. I like that. So I'm going to tear this way. Well, still got rid of a lot of that strip. That was a lot thinner than I thought it was going to be, and that's okay. And then this very last piece, I'm probably going to tear. No, I won't. I don't think I'll need to tear both edges. I'll show you. I'll just tear this edge because the pattern's a little offset. I'm going to even it up just a little bit by tearing along the edge that had more white space. All right, so let's see how this works. I lay these out. I want more of that to show. Again, I'm building from the bottom. Oh, so I'm overlapping all of those to get this cool effect. That's not quite enough. So this is why one of those like measure twice, cut once, not exactly, but lay this out and see what you think before you glue. I'm struggling a little bit with this. The other thing I guess you can do is just tack down the tops and then slide the bottoms underneath as you glue, but I don't think I can do that very well. I maybe should have left that piece thicker. It's okay. There we go. That gives me a decent balance. So I'm going to slide those over. And I'm going to use my grid. So if I put this at 1 3/4, I think that's going to really help me lay this out well. So I love that polka dot on the back. I'm a little sad not to use it on this project, but it'll be there for another one. So again, going to use that border corners to lay this across. It doesn't matter if it's not entirely straight there. And I'm going to keep doing these so that they just barely cover that next row. Oops. There we go. This one's so thin. Oh, no, I can still use my Stampin' Seal. Oops, that's got to come down because of that. The liquid glue is more forgiving than the Stampin' Seal, just so you know. You can give it a little bit of a squiggle and a wiggle if you need to. So I'm eyeballing this because I want to make sure that none of that white base shows. Oops. Trying to keep that one parallel because of those stripes. There we go. And the nice thing is now, if this is too thick and I think is too much, then I can easily cut that. So this time I'm going to put my adhesive on that base and a little bit more along that edge because I got this worked out really nicely this time. There we go. So now that that's a little too tall, and I'm not worried about this being a little thick at the bottom because of the treatment and the embellishments we're going to do. So I like to cut from the back to make these trims. Just helps that edge kind of guide your paper. This is a nice little scrap that I've got lots of little scraps over here, so you never know what I'm going to make with that. Excuse me. Right, so that's a pretty background. I went ahead and pre-cut one of the vases from the Artisan Sketch Garden DSP. It's another one that's on sale, thinking that I will anchor this across the bottom. Although I think I might do it on this side. I do want to add a happy birthday. I have my balloon festoon stamp set handy. So let's see. Actually, happy birthday goes, I was thinking I would do it on a banner or a pennant, but it actually fits really nicely right there with that vase beside it. So let's do that. Let me find a block. That will work. Here we go. Sorry if you have to look at the top of my head for this part. Grabbing my favorite black Memento ink. We have a new black hybrid ink that is supposed to be amazing. I haven't tried it out yet. Yet being the operative word. I'm sure this is inked up really well. And again, I apologize for the top of my head, but I really want this to be as far to the right as possible. And you'll notice that I'm holding it down. I'm not applying a lot of pressure or anything. I just want to leave it on the paper so that that ink absorbs into that cardstock. And now, see, it didn't do a great job, but it's fine. So I'm going to be able to add this little beauty right here. I do want to color this. So I grab my Stampin' Blends that coordinate. First I have Pool Party. This is the light Pool Party to add some water. And I'm just going to do a little scribbles right there for the water in my vase. The fact that I don't see the stems makes me think that that was maybe supposed to be like a ceramic vase and should be colored, but I'm not going to fool with that right now. I've got some dark daffodil. I'm going to do these front flowers darker and light Daffodil Delight for these flowers and the little bud. Just doing some real quick coloring. I'm not going to do a lot of shading in depth. Yeah. Excuse me. My apologies. I had a bit of a tickle. So I've got some soft sea foam. I think that's a nice green to bring in with this. There isn't a lot of guidance for those, so I'm just coloring in where I think there should be some green. I do think I missed a little yellow right here, so I'm going to use the lighter yellow. And I am going to use some of my liquid Tombow multi-adhesive to get those little tips to adhere. Sometimes I like for things to pop off the page, but other times not as much. Cute. Now what do y'all think? Should I add a butterfly? I had a butterfly. Huh. Do y'all see the butterfly? Has it flown away? It's really funny. There we go. It's kind of corny, I know, but what can I say? Oh yeah, I think that's a great addition. So I did grab Timid Tiger to go along with this. So I think I'll do some light Timid Tiger to start with. I am going to use the brush tip. The brush tip seems to bleed a little bit more, so Not worried about being super close to the edge. I'm going to leave those tips white. Okay. And then let's do some dimension with the dark Timid Tiger. Making that a little bit darker. I'm going to keep it simple. I think that's pretty. I'm going to give the wings a little bit of a fold and use my liquid glue just along the body of the butterfly to add it like that. And when it's dry, I'll pop those wings up a little bit more. So I'm going to add this panel. I think it's easier to do it as a panel and add it to the front of your card than to do the entire card front. But I mean, you be the judge. You do what you like. You could easily cut those at 4 1/4 and cover the whole front of the card. But I kind of like that extra dimension. Again, popping those wings up just a little bit. And I do have my array of dots that coordinate with this paper, and I think that we need to add some accents. I'm going to go with the pink and do a little 1, 2, 3. So how's that for a quick and easy birthday card? Again, I used, I think 7 strips of DSP and cardstock, measuring 4 inches wide and varying heights. I wasn't specific. You could really have a blast and do whatever you like. So I hope that you enjoy this fun birthday card or scraps strip card. And if this inspires you to create something, as always, you know I would love to see what you make. And thanks for watching. I'm really excited for my Metallic Magic Hot Foil class on Sunday. It is pretty full, so if you have not yet RSVP'd for that class, please do so by tomorrow because we are running out of space. And I'm very excited about that. So thanks for being a part of my Inky community. Thank you for watching, and please go get inky. Have a good evening. Good night.